What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds. Today we're here to talk about my thoughts on the Ahsoka series, episodes 1 and 2. But first up, if you guys could, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you're staying tuned every single Wednesday for my thoughts on each and every episode of the Ahsoka series. And if you guys could, I have another YouTube channel called Top 10 Character Moments. Link will be in the description below. So if you guys could subscribe there as well, it would be greatly appreciated. All right, you guys, let's talk about the Ahsoka series. Now, I was watching this with my brother and a friend of ours, and usually when I watch like a new series, right, I'll be sitting there taking notes, like just things that I want to talk about throughout the episode, but this was the first time in a while that I didn't take any notes watching these episodes because my eyes were constantly glued to the screen. I was basically watching Star Wars Rebels Season 5, and that is a key. The way that I see it, as someone, first of all, who's a massive Star Wars Rebels fan, I enjoyed this show, and I feel like that's just it. If you're a fan of Star Wars Rebels, you're gonna most likely enjoy this show. If you don't care about Star Wars Rebels that much or haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, you may not be as into the show as the people who were. There were plenty of Rebels references in this show. You got people like Ryder Azadi, who is a big character, especially in season 4 of Rebels. You had Jai Kell, who went to the Imperial Academy with Ezra in season 1 and then, helped Ezra out a little bit in season 4 as well. And of course, you had the main characters like Hera and Sabine. Hera actually played a bigger part in these 2 episodes than I thought she would. Now, at first, when I saw Hera in the trailers, I wasn't sold on the actress who played her, but as these 2 episodes went on and I just continued to watch her portrayal of Hera, the more I actually got into it. And by the end of the 2 episodes, I'm like, okay, I think they've sold me on this Hera. Would I have still preferred Vanessa Marshall? Sure. But if we can't do that, then I think they've chosen a good, what was it? Mary Elizabeth, I think, that is playing her. I thought she did a phenomenal job. And that moment at the beginning of the first episode with Ahsoka and Hera, and Ahsoka's like, I've been looking for the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. And Hera's like, that's impossible. Thrawn was destroyed at the Battle of Lothal. And it was at that moment where I went, oh, she thinks that Ezra's dead. Because like we see at the end of Rebels, right? Sabine's like, Ezra's out there somewhere. We got to bring him home. So, maybe there was kind of the hope, right, that Ezra's still alive. But here it was like, oh, wait, she doesn't know. And she's like, wait, does that mean that Ezra is still out there? That was such a cool moment. I thought the actress who plays Sabine has freaking nailed it. Felt like they just took Sabine out of animation and just plopped her right into live action like it was nothing. I will say, the part when Sabine gets stabbed, you guys know that watch my videos, that was one of my pet peeves with like Star Wars and Marvel stuff, is like, can we please stop stabbing people that you don't plan on killing? I'm not a believer in it. Even in this show, I'm not. I think that was really the only complaint that I had with these 2 episodes. Now, I can understand maybe some people that are like, oh, well, this show is called Ahsoka, but it felt like it was more about Sabine. But again, my argument is this is basically Star Wars Rebels Season 5. And when you really think about it, Ahsoka's story and Sabine's story are kind of one and the same right now, especially with the part of the timeline that we're in. So the way that I see it, like, how could it not be about Sabine? The Kenobi series, it's not just going to be about Kenobi, it's going to be about Darth Vader as well. So it's like, yeah, you name a show after a character, but that doesn't mean that it's all about that sole person. And I think Ahsoka will have her moments to shine as well. She had plenty of moments in these 2 episodes to shine. To me, it felt very much like it was about Ahsoka as much about Sabine, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Baylan was incredible in this episode, and his apprentice as well. What's her name? Shin. I loved those 2, especially in that opening scene with them taking out all the rebels. It was good stuff. I'm very curious to see how their stories play out as the show goes on, because especially towards the end of the 2nd episode, it kind of felt like there was still a little bit of good left in Baylan. And I will admit, one of the things that I thought about when watching this episode was, damn, even if Baylan lives on, we won't be able to see it through Ray Stevenson's performance anymore, which is just sad to think about. I love that they had the tribute to him at the end of this first episode. Rest in peace, Ray. I wish you didn't have to leave us so soon. The feeling that I got watching this show, I haven't felt since Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels are probably my two favorite pieces of Star Wars storytelling. So the fact that I got that feeling from this, like, this show is my Star Wars, the way that Clone Wars and Rebels are my Star Wars. Look, for those who watched my Andor videos, you guys know I didn't like those videos because that to me just didn't feel like Star Wars. This did. It's funny because after we got done watching the Ahsoka episode tonight, we were speaking with our good old friend Jacob. One of the things that I had talked about with him was about Andor. Like, we just kind of were talking about different Disney Plus shows, and we got on the subject of Andor, and he was talking about how he really liked it, and he had said everything that he needed to say about it. I had talked about how I didn't really like it as much, and it was kind of just one of those things where I told him, like, dude, I wish this conversation could translate to social media as well, because every time I talk shit about Andor, people shit on me. But we sat there and we both said what we needed to say, and at the end we were still cool and we're friends and everything, like, because that's how normal conversations work. We don't sit there and go, oh, your opinion sucks and you're stupid and you don't like Star Wars, you don't get Star Wars and blah blah blah. And above everything else, this proved to me that Dave Filoni needs to be in charge of every single Star Wars show out there. Stop overproducing Star Wars shows, stop doing an overabundance of them. I don't care about quantity, I care about quality. This was quality. I feel like I've made my thoughts on Dave Filoni very clear at this point, that he needs to have the keys to the kingdom. Anything that he's touched in Star Wars, in my opinion, has turned to gold. And look, say what you will about Mando Season 3. Was it a lesser season than some of the other ones? Yeah, but I would also argue that I don't know how much input Dave had on that season, because I think he was working on Ahsoka during that time. He didn't direct any of the episodes that season. I'm really curious about what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine, because they, like, really played up the idea like there were issues between the two of them. They both walked away, or at least Ahsoka walked away. And one of the reasons why I loved Hera so much in the two episodes is because she was trying to play peacekeeper. She was being the mom of the group, which is exactly what she is. That's why I said I think the actress who plays her grew on me, because you gotta put someone in there who brings that feeling of a mother figure. And I think, in my opinion anyway, I think Hera did that. Man, the one thing that the second episode really emphasized is how much the New Republic fucking sucks. They are literally the worst faction in all of Star Wars. They talked about how in Mando Season 3, right, they're talking about how, oh, the rebels, we've disbanded our fleet. The Rebellion, New Republic, they've disbanded their fleet and they're dismantling everything. And I'm just like, what are you thinking? And then you've got ex-Imperials running stuff, and it's just like, man, y'all let Elia Kane in here. You've got these people that are working on machines and getting this massive hyperdrive for Baylan. I'm just like, y'all are absolute idiots. And that giant hyperdrive that they were getting, right? Like, is that gonna be for the Star Destroyers to come through? Are we gonna get the Chimaera back? Like, they're making a giant portal, right? I mean, this, you know what this kind of reminded me of, these two episodes, like the plot of it anyway? Kind of like Jedi Survivor and them trying to find Tanalorr. Like, even the freaking temple that Ahsoka went to at the start of the show felt very, like, I don't know, a little kind of Zepho to me, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I guess we gotta talk about the Magistry. Apparently she was the Nightsister, which I know was a big thing going around. My brother thought that she was, and I was like, oh yeah, wow, you called it. I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, all right, cool. So that left us with a couple of Nightsisters that survived the Great Purge of Dathomir. Just so we don't get to a point where we've gotten with the Jedi, where there's been like an overabundance of Jedi that have survived Order 66. I was having a conversation with my friend about this the other day, and it was like, yeah, it does kind of feel like more and more like just the whole Order 66 thing. Like, yeah, of course there were 10,000s of Jedi, and now there's no longer that many Jedi, but there's still a lot of them that were out there, you know what I'm saying? I am so excited for the next, what is it? We now got 6 weeks left of the show. The next 6 weeks, you guys, I'm just gonna be like every day it's going to be, oh, another step closer to a new Ahsoka episode, another step closer. And I know that the next episode is going to be, I think from what I've heard, only 30 minutes long, but I say only 30. That's basically the length of a Rebels episode. Actually, it's a little bit longer because technically Rebels episodes were 22 minutes. I really don't understand this whole thing that people got where it's like, oh, it's only 30 minutes and stuff, which I'm sure it's going to fly by because the first two episodes really flew by in my opinion, especially that first one. And the first one was longer and I was like, oh my gosh, it's done already? I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. But to me, that just goes to show you that time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, like I really don't get this whole like criticizing of episode lengths and stuff. It's like, I don't care how long something is. Like, I just care about like the episode itself, like the quality of it. Let it be a good 30 minutes. Just watch the episode. Then if you want to criticize, criticize. I'm trying to think if I've got anything else to add, you guys, but I think that is going to wrap us up for today. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited to be covering the show with you guys. Like, this is something like if I would have had my channel back in the day, I would have loved to have done this with like Star Wars Rebels, but eventually we are going to do this with Star Wars Rebels and do some retro discussions on it, just like we're doing right now with the Clone Wars. So if you guys haven't been checking out those videos, highly recommend you do so. Every Monday, new discussion on a new Clone Wars episode. So make sure y'all are checking that out and make sure you're checking out the rest of the content that I got here on the channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're wrapping up for today. I'm like really rambling on my words right now, but I was spinning for a moment. Now I'm rambling, but it's fine. Share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
You never made things easy for me, Master.